everybody. Welcome to this month's edition of the Female Film Critics panel. And today I'm very excited. We have with us Lizzie Sáenz, film critic, and thank you so much for coming on the podcast.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, so since you're new to the show, why don't you introduce yourself to our audience and tell us a little bit about how you developed your love of film and started on this path to become a critic.
Oh, how did I develop? I don't know. I think for everyone who's sort of on this path that sort of started when one was young. My dad my dad passed away a few years ago, and my dad was sort of the one who took me to I think everyone has that movie, and for me it was probably Star Wars. My dad took me to see, sort of the Star Wars. I watched the Star Wars movies plenty of times, most of them with my dad. We used to do, I think it was yearly, the Star Wars, first the originals, and then when the prequels came out, I remember watching the prequels with my dad. I remember, I know everyone, there was a long time when hating the Phantom Menace was cool, but I never hated the Phantom Menace because I remember watching it with my dad and walking out of the theater in a discussion of what midichlorians were, and the whole, well, what is the Force? Is it science? Is it the Force? And this whole thing. And I have so many good memories tied to my dad around that. So that is sort of what I feel kind of was the beginning of this idea of discussing what goes into a movie, but not sort of just what goes into a movie, but what a movie leaves you with. And that extends to TV too, what a piece of entertainment leaves you with, and whether that piece of entertainment did what it meant to do or not. And sometimes a piece of entertainment did not do what it meant to do, but it still did something good.
Yeah, that is one thing because my parents aren't big movie people. My mom's more of a reader, but they were good about teaching us to analyze what we were watching and talk about it. And that was something my mom always encouraged, to don't just mindlessly consume content. Think about what you're watching.
Yeah, my parents were also big readers. My dad, I'm saying, wherever you are, Dad, I hope you're seeing all the things. My dad was a big sci-fi fan. He was also I grew up. My bedtime stories were sci-fi. Isaac Asimov was what he read to me as a 3-year-old. What kind of a parent was he used to read The Bicentennial Man was my bedtime story. I remember clearly that when that movie came out with Robin Williams, I remember that was a bedtime story for me, and people were like, "That was a what?" It's I don't know how to say. That was a bedtime story for me.
That's sweet.
Yeah, it is. And then it's sort of as you say, that's sort of how you learn thinking about those things. When you grow up reading, and sort of, I think a lot of people who I've met who are critics have this reading as the background, because growing up reading also sort of teaches you to critical thinking is a very big part of what makes a critic, actually, and reading, it does a lot of that. And I think also you get a point when you've been reading a lot that I think is a crucial point where you decide that you're just not going to read this book. And it took me a while, the point where you're say I used to be a completionist. I started this book, I have to finish it. And then there comes a point where you're you know what, this book is bad and I'm not going to finish. That is a very important point. Where you know what, I'm going to stop this book because it's bad. That's a breaking point for everyone. And that happens with movies and happens with TV shows, at the point where you realize that not all entertainment is made equal. Some things are good, some things are bad, and some things are in the middle, and you can enjoy things and still ask better of them and criticize them and say, you could have done this better,
Yeah, it has to be a pretty bad book for me to not finish. I am kind of a completionist like that, but yeah, you do. That is an important moment when you kind of realize that oh yeah, this was not good.
Yeah.
And It was interesting when I was in college. I remember went to see La Chocolat with my
Yeah.
friends, and I can't remember why, but I didn't like the movie for some reason. And I remember talking about it with my friends after, and I was going on about blah 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 blah. And one of my friends was just like, Rachel, we just wanted to watch the movie. We didn't want to talk all about it. I'm like, oh. I was like, oh, I thought everybody did that. Like, 'cause that was the way it was in my family. Is we would, talk and analyze and about it. And that was part of the fun of it.
Right. Yeah, that was sort of, I think, what drew me to coming online and
Yeah.
discussing stuff, because I mean, I did it with my family, but I had a group of friends also who didn't really want to do that. They just
Right.
wanted to watch the movie and they wanted to enjoy it. And I did, I mean, I did, but I also wanted to like dissect it and like talk about the little things. And did you notice that in this scene, this character did so and so? Or like the TV show, like, are you noticing how the little clues are building up to something? And my friends were like, no, we just wanted
Yeah.
to watch it and not think about it. And I was like, how? I just want to talk about what they're building up to.
Yes, exactly.
And that was just, that drove me crazy. So I came online to find people who just wanted to talk about what things were building up to.
Yeah. So you write for a couple different sites, but for Fangirlish and comic book resources.
Yeah. I am CBR Comic Book Resources is my main job. I am the senior features editor. So I barely write at CBR, actually. I'm just,
Okay.
I dictate content there more than anything. I tell other people what to write. So I just keep an eye on what's going on in TV and movies. The sort of assign stuff. I do most of my writing at Fangirlish. I also write at Remezcla when there's something that sort of interests me. I pitch it to the editor there, who's a good friend of mine. Yeah, I have a couple of avenues there. When I took the job at CBR, which was mostly an editing job, I didn't feel like I could still write at CBR. I just don't have the time.
Right.
The editing job is so time consuming. But I didn't want to stop writing. So I enjoy writing a lot. So I make sure I also have time to write.
Yeah. So what's your background? Are you is your education in film or journalism or
Fun times. I am a lawyer. Okay.
Oh.
My background is in law. Once upon a time started, I considered journalism, even started it, decided like Latino parents tell you this thing where you're started and you think you want to be a journalist, that sort of goes like, you're not going to be able to support yourself. You should consider a profession that is going to allow you to support yourself. So I picked law. And I studied law and I practiced law for a couple of years. And then the pandemic came and I was like, you know what? We were all shut down.
Yeah.
And I was like, you know what? This is the time to do the thing I actually want to do. And I tried it out. It worked out. I said, you know what? I'm not one of those people who's going to tell you I hated being a lawyer. I did not, but I also didn't enjoy it as much as I enjoy this. So I'm sticking with this, which I really enjoy.
That's so cool that you were able to switch over.
Yes, and I don't miss the high heels and the suits, and I'm not looking for. If I never have to go back, I won't.
Are you a fan of Rachel's reviews? Do you look forward to Family Movie Night, Female Film Critics panels, or the Talking Disney podcast? If so, please consider supporting the podcast by becoming a patron. As a patron, you get to access monthly events such as the watch-alongs and Q&As, where you get to talk to stars and find out the behind the scenes of the movie making industry. And you can pick what I review for Family Movie Night or even become a guest on the podcast. Podcasts and YouTube channels are expensive, and I really, really could use your help. I would so appreciate it. You also get to be a member of the Facebook group where we talk about all the films that we're seeing, and we have so much fun. Go to patreon.com/Hallmarkies and select one of the Rachel's fan tiers. That's patreon.com/Hallmarkies.
Yeah. What kind of lawyer were you?
I was a corporate lawyer, so like it's
Oh,
just serious kind. Don't want to go back.
yeah, I don't blame you. I thought about going to law school. I even took the LSATs, but I was just like, wow, this is not for me.
I mean, I did not hate it, but just it's turning off the brain a little bit. It's
Mhm.
not that it's not interesting. I enjoy when I'm doing it, but I am a much more creative person than
Mhm.
that job allows me to be in the moment.
When you watch legal shows and movies, do you kind of pick them apart? You're like, oh,
Yeah.
that's not real.
Yeah, I laugh. Like
Yeah.
something like Suits. It's like,
Yeah.
yeah, right. Like you trying, but it's not like that. But
Yeah. I noticed on your web on your bio, you said that you have a recurring nightmare where you're forced to choose between sports and books.
ooh, I am a sports person. I probably whatever sport you can give me, I love.
Uh-huh.
I was up late yesterday watching the NBA finals. I watched a
Oh,
baseball game most days. I was
do you have particular teams you're rooting for, or just in
I
general?
was anti-Lakers
Oh,
yesterday.
okay.
Not necessarily. I mean, I like the Warriors just fine. I'm just basketball might be the game I follow least faithfully. So I'm just anti-big team in that.
Mm-hmm.
I do have a baseball team. I am a big football, soccer, or big fan. My dad was from Argentina, so I was a
Okay.
big when the World Cup in December. I was like every game. I was like when Argentina won. I was like my house was like it's like I don't know if I could have teleported myself to Argentina to celebrate in the middle of that massive amount of people. I would have been there, and I wouldn't have cared. I would have been celebrating for 3 days.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm a big and I feel like I used to be more of a reader when I was growing up. I now I feel like maybe it's growing up, maybe it's adulthood, maybe it's having so many other things to do, but now I feel like I have to make time to read.
Yeah.
But I'm also the kind of person who picks up a book and is incapable of putting it down. Like I usually have to make time to read because I know that when I pick up a book, if the book is good, I don't know how people have self-control. I don't.
Yeah.
If you like the book will be finished. And then it'll be 3 a.m. and I'll be like, I should have gone to sleep. But here I am on page 393. It was like,
Yeah. Yeah. I'm the same way, especially with a really gripping book, but you do have to kind of make time for reading. I listen to a lot of the books that I have. I've been a long time Audible member since 2006. So
that used to be easier for me when I had a commute. Now I don't have a commute, so I work from home, and then sometimes I go on a walk, so I'll listen a little bit, but even that I'm like, when do I listen to books now?
Mm-hmm. So I noticed, and this is part of the reason why I was like, ooh, I want to talk to her, that you had reviewed a bunch of Christmas movies on Rotten Tomatoes. I host the Hallmarkies podcast, which covers all the holiday movies, including, the Hallmark movies and Netflix and everywhere else. And so it's a favorite genre of mine. And I was just curious if that was, do you love rom-coms?
I love rom-coms.
Yeah.
I don't watch as many Hallmark ones as I probably would like to.
Uh-huh.
But I love rom-coms, and I love holiday movies, and like it's I don't think the genre gets the credit or the love it deserves. Even though I was having a conversation with someone about rom-coms yesterday, and I was saying I love the genre, but one thing I don't like about the genre, or my least favorite kind of rom-com, I was saying to someone yesterday, is the rom-com where we get resolution when there's 3 seconds left.
Yeah.
And
I
then
know,
it's
not getting a
black.
kiss until the last 30 seconds. That's a downer. I
Oh,
don't like
and then
that.
it fades to black, and you're like, what? And I was talking about that because I thought I was speculating with someone that that's what I think Ted Lasso is going to do with his last season. That I think they're building up to a rom-com, and I'm saying we're going to get one of those rom-coms, and I'm gonna get the resolution at the end, and then I'm just gonna have to go read fanfic or something.
Yeah. I haven't been watching this season. I heard it's not very good. People haven't liked it much.
It's had very, very good individual pieces. It's just very, very hard for me to know what they're doing within the context of this is the final season. It makes absolutely no sense for me as a final season.
Maybe there'll be a surprise, like it's actually not.
If it's actually not, then maybe it makes more sense. But if this ends and it's a final season, like I think they're building up to a rom-com with Ted and Rebecca. I would be surprised. I would be shocked if I get to episode 12 and that is not what they're doing. I think this is Sense and Sensibility and they're Eleanor. And like, I would be shocked if that's not what they're doing. Like, I honestly would be. But I think they're going too slow. So, and then rom-coms sometimes do it like that. Like there's a big moment. But I think that they should have done it before.
Yeah. Well, it's kind of exciting because Hollywood wasn't making rom-coms for so long. And that's why a lot of people started watching Hallmark and Netflix and things like that because it's the only place to watch rom-coms. But last year and then this year, we kind of had a bit of a rom-com renaissance.
Right. And I made it a point. It's like every holiday season, I'm like, I'm going to review every Christmas movie on Netflix and I'm going to put it on Rotten Tomatoes. Like I made it a point. Like I'm going to make sure I review each and every one of them. I don't, and every time there's, I also did, I don't know, there was a J-Lo and Owen Wilson one. Like every time I see a rom-com and I can't review it, I'm like, I'm just gonna put it out there because I don't think that the genre gets the love it deserves. And they're not,
I agree.
They're not all great ones, but most of them, like it's people are like, oh, but this rom-com wasn't that great. That action movie wasn't that great.
Yeah.
You enjoyed it.
Like any genre, there's good and bad ones.
In my rom-coms.
Yeah. So you said also in your bio that you fall in love with fictional characters. Do you have any particular favorites?
Recent ones, like I probably have a list. Like I used to be a Mr. Darcy girl. Up. Like I think we all did. Like there was a list of a lot of us went through an Austen period, I think, growing up.
Which Darcy do you like better? Colin Firth Darcy or 2005 movie Darcy?
Colin Firth Darcy.
Yeah.
Original. Like I like the 2005 version. I just don't think he gets enough words. Like there's a lot about the aesthetics that work. But like he doesn't get enough to say. Like it's just the aesthetics that work. Like, well,
I feel like in the 2005 movie, like he's barely mean. He's kind of just shy and awkward, which I like. I like that take. It's creative and interesting. But it's more Lizzie who does more of the changing, is more of the, and he's just more awkward than rude.
Yeah.
But I love both. I'm super easy to please when it comes to Pride and Prejudice. I even like the zombie one.
Yeah, me too. And like even Bridget Jones' Diary.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I hate the second one. Second Bridget Jones is terrible, but the first one.
Yeah. The third one. Yeah, the third one is better than the second one.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No question. Yeah. I agree with you there. So it looked like on your site that you cover a lot of television, particularly like procedurals, Chicago Fire and NCIS, I saw.
I have a lot of love for procedurals because procedurals, the idea of the case of the week allows them to give the characters in the background, sort of in quote unquote in the background, a lot of development.
Mhm.
But procedurals also give you ships, steady ships.
Yeah.
They often don't mess with because they have drama some other way, which is with the case every week.
Mhm.
It hasn't always been like that. Like Chris Carter thought he was doing something great by not putting Mulder and Scully together for 20 million years. But after that, from Bones to Castle, like the procedurals have given us.
That's true.
Yes. So, and then I have fallen in love ever since, I think, Bones and Castle. I was an X-Files girl growing up.
Mhm.
And I have NCIS Los Angeles, which is ending, has given me one of my favorite ships in procedural world. I have been watching, and a ship that I don't think a lot of people know about, and it's so sad that the show is ending, but a ship that has been together since the show's season 6 till the show's season 14, straight up without breaking up once.
Ah.
It's unheard of on
Yeah.
TV. Like that is like, what is it even that? And
Yeah.
they got together, they got married, they adopted a kid, and like it's been happy all
Mhm.
throughout. And I like that. I like when like, I hate shows that give you like the drama, like, oh, they broke up.
Yeah.
I'm maybe I'm too old for young adult drama. Like I can't anymore.
Yeah.
Like even
Well, and it can just feel like, come on, are they really gonna, like, what are you doing? Like they are extending it out just because they want to keep making more episodes rather than it feeling authentic to the characters.
right, even Ted Lasso's getting like too much drama for
Yeah.
me. Like, I can't. I mean, it's not even too much drama. Like Ted Lasso is sort of a wholesome kind of show. It's just
Yeah.
when you don't see, like, Ted Lasso has what, 4 episodes to go till the end,
Yeah.
quote unquote, and I don't see where the end game is.
Yeah.
I
I've heard that from a lot of people.
I have an idea of where I think they're trying to go, but it's not clear, and I'm like, hello, 4 episodes to go. What are you doing? So it's like, I think you're supposed to have an idea when the show is about to end, where the show's going. So that just stresses me out. No.
Yeah. Well, I just so busy. I have a hard time fitting television shows in. I have so many movies to watch that and other things going on that's the thing that usually gets sacrificed, is I just don't have time to watch, these long shows. But I did just review Bridgerton. I know you enjoyed it, the Queen Charlotte. I wasn't a big fan for those reasons of, like, the reason why I watch Bridgerton is to relax and escape and have fun. And this was just so dour and
Oh yeah, that wasn't an escape. I mean,
no.
I didn't think it was gonna be. I think a lot of those shows depend on your expectations.
Yeah.
I had an idea of the historical aspects since they were acting historical characters. So since I had an idea of the historical aspects of King George, I thought,
I think what they should have done is they should have made Lady Danbury's arc more fun.
Yeah.
So that you could have the, like, more serious, mental health, getting tortured, things like that.
Getting tortured is exactly what happened.
Yeah, over and over and over again. I'm just like,
And we had an entire episode of his point of view, which I get it. I know what they were trying to do, and then in that context it worked. But that was an episode I will never watch again.
Yeah, I will never watch the season again. It was just, I don't know. It just wasn't for me.
Even if I liked it, that's not an episode anyone probably wants to watch again.
Yeah, like I didn't like the season as a whole, but especially that episode. Yeah, was because we'd already been through it, and now going through it again was interesting. It was an interesting idea, but I don't know, I just thought, this is not what I watch Bridgerton for. I watch it for fun, romance.
But was season 2 fun? It wasn't either.
It was pretty fun, like enemies to lovers.
but it was
like, it made me crazy. I was like, ah, but
it was
because they changed it from the book a lot in the second one. But they had such amazing chemistry in that second season.
the
And
chemistry that they wasted. I felt like season 2
Oh,
was a
really?
waste. I felt like they wasted it. Why did I need a love triangle? I wanted a romance. Why was she? What was it doing in the middle of that? I wanted a romance, not a love triangle.
Yeah, I can see that. I mean, I did think it was not as good as the first season. They still haven't, and maybe it was just because that first season was such a surprise and it was so
It was better
refreshing.
than the book. The first
Yeah,
season
it is
was
better than the book.
and then the second season was worse than the book.
Yeah, no, that's true. I agree with that. But I still overall enjoyed it and found it fun. And it was about the romance, whereas this, I appreciate they were trying to do something different, but I was just like, oh, this is such a downer, and it just made it kind of a bit of a slog for me. But yeah, it is tricky when these shows try to go sort of more drama. I mean, and I think I saw your review of Virgin River season 3. Boy, that show has lost me completely. I mean, I didn't even finish the last season. I was just like, this is terrible.
That show has lost. I mean, I don't know what that show has tried to do. That show has become, I don't know, the baby
that was so stupid.
But like, again, the problem with that show and Bridgerton is I think they lost the romance in the drama. Like, romance is a genre that has very specific rules, and then they adapt it and forget the rules of romance and try to do drama. That which is why I think happened with Bridgerton season 2, because romances don't have love triangles. The rules of romance are this. And they try to do drama. And it's the same thing with Queen Charlotte.
Yeah.
Like, we're trying to do something, but this is not a romance.
I just felt like the Queen Charlotte, because overall I thought that season 2 was fun. Like, it was like the back and forth, the enemies to lovers kind of story. I thought was overall fun, and I just didn't have any fun, hardly at all, with Queen Charlotte. It was just depressing.
I think they should have. They need to go away from. I don't know. Maybe season 3 of Bridgerton will do something else, but like, I think they need to adapt.
Yeah, I think they're basically
romances.
I think they're basically skipping the third book. It seems like.
Yeah, they're gonna do 4. Well, they're gonna do Colin.
Yeah.
So I don't know they're gonna do 4, because at this point they've thrown the books out the window.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, because the Lady Whistleton story is totally different than in the book.
So yeah, they're gonna do Colin, and then at that point, how that affects Benedict, who knows? But
but it's hard doing the third book because it's basically like Cinderella, so it just doesn't feel like it fits with what they're doing in the show.
Yeah, I don't know. And it's also very hard to cast a woman of color in Sophie's place, because I don't know how you don't do that and make it sound white saviory in any way, shape, or right. That's true. That's going to be complicated, and I don't know what they're going to do there. But there are a bunch of other romance series that could be adapted that might just be fun. Bridgerton is not the only series with siblings or cousins or whatever that they could adapt that would be fun.
That's true. Did you watch the Sanditon series on PBS?
I watched the first season, and then when the thing happened, I said, I'm not here for this.
I thought it was terrible. It was so bad.
Forgot about it. Burned it out of my brain.
They were trying too hard to be edgy, and it's such a shame because they have an unfinished novel. They could do whatever they want with it, and I thought it was so badly written. It's just like,
the things I read made it like, okay, every time I read something, I was like, okay, let me forget this thing I read.
Yeah. So you cover comic book movies on your site, obviously. And do you find that difficult? Because I just find that the whole experience has become so miserable. I sometimes I just don't even want to cover them. The fandoms are so annoying.
Right, but like, are they more annoying than other fandoms? Like, they're just sometimes they're louder, but like the procedural fans are horrible too.
Are they really? Oh, I found nothing to be more intense and
The
annoying
Star Wars
than,
fans too. Like, I
the
think
Star Wars fans are pretty bad.
the horrible fans everywhere. Like, I have a fan from I'm calling him fan. I have a fan from
Yeah.
Chicago PD, the procedurals, who emails me every week. Every week, this person takes the time every week to read my review and tell me how much they disagree with everything I say. They quote my review in and like they a rebuttal of my review every week to tell me they disagree. Man, I wish my husband loved me this much. I don't get it. Like, every week, like this man, and like they do it. Like, imagine my review publishes at 10 in the morning. This email will be in my inbox at 10:30. Like, do they have an alert?
They probably do.
It's
well, at least it sounds like that's respectful, whereas like so much of the comic book space gets so mean.
Right, like, yeah, I get, like, I cannot even go on CBR's Facebook page. Like, every time an article is published on Facebook on CBR, and I just casually scroll through the Facebook comments. I'm like, no, thank you. Or like, on even on Fangirlish, like, I cover NCIS Hawaii. NCIS Hawaii has a lesbian couple. Don't even touch the comments. It's like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Hide. Thank you. No, thank you.
Yeah, I mean, for most, when I review a superhero movie or anything else that I think is going to be like controversial, I usually just turn off the comments completely because it's just not worth it. It's too much of a headache.
Yeah, the fans are like, I do find that the comic book fans are, yeah, but like I feel
it's like they turn it into a religion.
Yeah, like, but like, even ever since I think like the Arrowverse, like, I think it's the same people, the DC, the Marvel, like, they've been before the MCU even got big, and like with the DC being like, I think, don't know if they're the same people, but I think they're those kinds of people everywhere. I don't know if they're louder in the MCU spaces, or they I don't know. Yeah, they're bad. They're bad, and I have recently just changed all the settings on my social media to just give me notifications from people I follow. And because before I had it, I used to interact a lot more with people I don't follow. Like, I had it open, and like I try to interact with people if they left me a comment, and now I don't. I just only with people I follow, and I only check if it's someone that a lot of people I follow or something like that. And if I don't even check. I don't even like, and I know I probably miss some people, but I don't have the mental, like,
it's not worth it.
It's not worth it.
We'd like to take a second and thank our sponsor for this episode of the podcast. It's the Hallmarkies merch store.
Are you looking for that perfect gift for the postable, hardy, or Hallmarky in your life?
What about getting that t-shirt or hoodie that will help you stand out at your next holiday party?
Now is the time to check out the Hallmarkies merch store.
Full of festive designs by artists like Jessica Miller, Carrie from Hallmark Comics, and more.
You can even have more than just shirts, but totes, cell phone cases, notebooks, mugs, and more.
And it isn't just Hallmark. We have designs for Anna Green Gables, Man from Snowy River, The Nanny, and more.
Every purchase at the merch store goes to help support the podcast and allows us to make the great content you know and love.
There are frequent sales, so go to tpublic.com/stores/Hallmarkies or see the link in the description.
That's tpublic.com/stores/Hallmarkies.
Do you have any favorite shows or movies of 2023 so far?
2023 so far. What have I watched that I have really enjoyed? What aired this year? What is time? Okay, did Andor air this year?
Yeah, I think that was this year.
I don't know.
I can't remember. I didn't see that. again, I just don't watch that much television if I'm not covering it for a podcast. There was actually a really good show on Hallmark that you might like called The Way Home.
I heard that was super good, but
really good.
I didn't want to watch it till Andor aired last year. I think it might have ended in December, might have gone into I didn't want to watch The Way Home till it was done.
So they finished the first season, and it was very well made, well acted, good story. I think you'd like it.
Yeah, I heard from Erin, who works at Fangirlish with me, that I was gonna like it so much, but she said it while the season was going on, and I was like, I'm gonna wait till it's done, because if I'm not covering the show, I would rather binge it. If I'm covering the show, I can't do anything other than weekly. But if I'm not, I'd rather binge it. Because I got there's nothing I can do. I can't say I don't know what to say. I can't say Ted Lasso, because there are a couple of episodes of Ted Lasso that I think were brilliant.
But
overall, until I can see the end of the thing, I really enjoyed Outer Banks. I watched that this season. This year. It was kind of like, it's not deep, but like it entertained me supremely. To the point where I those shows that you are not expecting anything deep, but like you play one episode and you're like, I'm gonna watch this kind of silly show about this teenagers on the beach. The type of show I literally said earlier I did not like, because it was young adult drama, except it was mostly about them going after a treasure. And then I was like, play episode 1. And I was like, this episode is an hour. I'm going to get tired of this show immediately. Cue 8 hours later. And I was like, okay, I'm going to finish season 1. And I was like,
I kind of felt that way about The Summer I Turned Pretty. I don't know if you got to see that show. That was fun. That was fun. Oh gosh, what's it? My brain, Emily in Paris. That show finally lost me. This last season was so bad.
I don't know if it ever got me, or it was just the dresses or something like that. It had a certain appeal at the beginning. It was kind of silly, but Outer Banks, I watched the 3rd season this year, but I watched all of the show. It really got me. And then Netflix had a couple of shows. I liked The Night Agent a lot.
I heard that's good.
It was smarter than I thought it was gonna be. It had a good romance. It had one of those, the type of male lead that's like, he's tough, but he's not. He's sensitive and kind of like the
cinnamon roll guy.
Yes.
Oh my God.
It works like the setup for a romance, and you're like, they're not gonna go for romance, and then they do, and you're like, okay, you did well. I also enjoyed The Diplomat more than I thought it was gonna do. That's not really a romance, but I enjoyed it more than I thought I was gonna do.
So what did you think of 2022 as far as movies, and did you get it? What'd you think of Everything Everywhere All at Once winning Best Picture?
I thought I was gonna be upset if that didn't win. I really was. I think that was
your favorite.
I think that was my clear favorite from last year. And I didn't even watch it right away. And then when I did, I was like, how didn't I watch this? I need to watch it again and then again. And I just needed to I was kind of blown away by it, and sort of by the idea that it hadn't been done before. It was very, very good.
It was very unique.
It was different.
Yeah. So would you say that you are optimistic about the state of film, or pessimistic, in the sense of, I think there's lots of things to be optimistic about. There's just so much content, and there's so many ways. I feel like there's content being made for every audience. Whoever you are, there's somebody making something for you right now. But there's also definitely reason to be concerned with with theaters having been closed for the pandemic and trying to rebuild everything. So what do you think about that?
mean, I think I'm optimistic about the possibilities. Like, I mean, we're in the middle of a writer's strike. Like,
Yeah, that's true.
I think I am optimistic if they can get the fair deal they sort of deserve. And I think, like, I mean, I don't think the strike ends unless they do. So
Yeah.
I guess at some point they're gonna have to push the way. And like, I think if the strike keeps going on, we're gonna have the actors are gonna strike, the directors are gonna strike, and this is gonna become an even bigger deal. So at some point, something's gonna have to break, and the industry is gonna have to change, or I don't know. We're gonna see.
Hopefully, it won't last as long as the last writer's strike. 100 days was the last one.
Right, like I think if either we see something in the next, if by the first week of June, we don't see the needle moving, then things are going to get real complicated, because then the actors are going to start negotiating. And if SAG starts negotiating and the WGA does not have anything on the table, then things are going to get real dicey.
Yeah.
And then if the DGA starts negotiating too, and then they're the three, and then the Teamsters are already not crossing the picket lines, like it's just gonna be a mess. And like, I don't even think you can do like San Diego Comic if all three are on strike. Like, Hollywood stopped. Like, I was gonna buy my ticket for San Diego Comic, and my husband was like, "Are you sure we want to buy the ticket?" Because he was gonna go with me, and I was like, "You make a fair point, actually. Are we gonna buy the ticket?" It's like, maybe we hold up a few weeks on that ticket. So
you're not able to get in on as press?
No, yeah, I have my San Diego Comic Con ticket. I was talking about my plane ticket.
Oh, right. Okay.
Yeah. I have my hotel already, and I have my badge for the con. I was just like, do I want to buy, or if I buy the plane ticket, I might buy a refundable one, because I don't know.
Yeah.
At this point, what's going to happen?
Yeah. Yeah. I wonder what's going to happen with D23 as well, because it seems like, so because they only have the convention every other year. So they had it last year, but they've like fired practically everybody. It seems like that's part of D23. Disney just had this round of layoffs. And so I wonder if they're just going to cancel D23 altogether, or what's going on. It's going to be interesting to see. Yeah. Well, so we like to talk about an unpopular opinion on this show, and what that experience is like, because it can be pretty intense in like we were talking about different fandoms. What's one unpopular opinion that you want to share?
And I feel like I have a bunch of unpopular opinions that get me into trouble, but like I don't even want to get into a lot of trouble. I was just gonna like I want to bring up like what feels to me like a really, really tame one that somehow always gets me in trouble, and it's in fandoms. It always feels like every time there is a movie or let's even talk MCU or something like that, or like a show, and there are two ships, separate ships that have nothing to do with each other. It feels like there's a competition within the two ships. And I'm not even talking like there's a love triangle. I'm not even talking Hunger Games and there's Katniss and then there's Gale and there's Peeta and there's obviously two separate fandoms because there's a one person in the middle.
Yeah.
Well, I'm talking about like I don't know, like there's Cap and Peggy, and then there's Tony and Pepper. Ships that have nothing to do with each other. But the fans hate each other. And then the fans are like, your ship is the worst because mine is. I do not fucking understand. Sorry, I cursed. But I don't understand.
Yeah.
Why fans have to pick ships that have nothing to do with each other? Like, hello.
So what's your hottest take ship? The one that people...
My hottest take ship is that if Marvel had actually done a good writing job, Cap and Sharon would have worked.
Oh.
Cap and Sharon was the thing that worked in the comics. I grew up with those comics. Like, don't tell me it couldn't have worked. I grew up reading those comics and it worked. I'm a comics girl. Like it worked. It worked for many years.
It's hard though, because I love Peggy and Cap so much.
Oh, I love Peggy in the movies too, but like if they'd cared to make Sharon an actual character instead of just whatever it is they did,
Yeah.
it really could have worked. But they never cared to do that. And then the fans are just like, oh God. And we already talked about toxic fans and how they just decide to hate on things that have nothing to do with it. It's like, and
well, my recent unpopular opinion is I was not a fan of Super Mario Brothers movie. I thought it was
me either.
really,
I'm with you on that one.
I thought it was boring, and I didn't like the story, and I didn't think it was funny. And I don't know, I just thought it was a weird plot of this, like the Bowser forcing Peaches to marry him, and that was, I didn't understand why that was funny. I just was disappointed because I felt like it was really a chance for Illumination to stretch themselves and do something. Yeah, because we just recently had the Puss in Boots movie, which was so good in my opinion, and so well done, and where they really stretched themselves artistically and story wise. But for Super Mario Brothers, it was just so bland and boring. That was what was disappointing to me.
Yeah, I actually agree with that one. I don't know that's that unpopular. I mean, I think people would get angry at my Sharon take.
Yeah, that is a hot take. Well, what is something that you've made or written that you're proud of? Something you think that was well written, that was well done.
I have an older article about that. I always look back and think that I wrote an article about how there are no good or bad fans, they're just fans. People like to gatekeep fandoms, like,
yeah,
oh, you're just a bad fan of this. What is a bad fan? You just have to be a fan. Like, there are no bad fans.
right.
The only thing you need to be a fan is like something. And I'm always been really, like, that was one of my first articles, and I'm always been really, really proud of that one. I always look back on it and I was like, you know what, I did good there. Just like a thing, and then you're a good fan, period.
Yeah, that sounds good. That sounds like a good article. So for me, I recently I've been working as a theater critic as well as a film critic, and I've really been enjoying that. I love live theater so much, and musicals so much. And I just started a new website, rachelsreviewstheater.com. And I'm really proud of it. I think it looks really nice, and it's a place to kind of put my theater reviews. And we're doing Theater Tuesdays on the channel every week, and so I'm really proud of that. And we just finished covering, my friends and I just finished covering Schmigadoon, and so that was really fun.
I love that. I love that show.
It's so good. It was a great season. So hopefully they'll keep. It seems like it's a very expensive show, but I'm excited to see what they come up with next. But yeah, so that's something I'm proud of that I did recently. So we like to end the show with some fun get to know you questions.
Okay.
So first question, what's the best ice cream flavor?
Coffee.
Oh,
Even though I don't drink coffee.
That's interesting. Okay, good. What is your favorite color?
Green.
Ah, very good. Okay, what music are you into?
I am very, very big into musical.
Me too.
Yeah, I like that. That's my number one. Like, I have a musical playlist on my Spotify that is longer than anything else.
Yeah. Well, no wonder you like Schmigadoon then.
Yeah.
So what is your go-to date night food?
Italian.
Oh, okay. Good. What is your go-to date night activity if you're doing something, going out, doing something fun?
Eating. Do I have to do more than eating?
Yeah.
Okay, so I guess we can go to the movies, but eating?
Well, what do you like better, dogs or cats?
Dogs. I have 2 dogs, no cats.
Oh, cute. Would you like better, beaches or mountains?
I like mountains better, but only because I live close to beaches and have very little access to mountains. So I think you like the thing you are not as close to, because if I had the mountains, maybe I like the beaches more because I don't get to go as much.
Yeah. Well, that's true. I live in Utah, so I have tons of mountains, but no beaches. So I love the beaches. So you're right. I think you're right. Yeah. All right. What's your favorite holiday to celebrate?
Christmas.
Yeah. It's hard to beat Christmas because it's like a whole season.
You have a month, and then you get to do so much. Like you had to, like, I don't know, bake cookies. Like you get to stretch it out, and then there's the movies that, like, that's just a lot.
Yeah. All right. Last question. What is your favorite romantic movie?
Oh, my favorite romantic movie in general. Like that changes probably like the first one that came to mind, as you said, it was The Holiday. I don't know why.
Okay,
that was the first one that came to mind when you said it. So for some reason that was the one I was thinking about. So that's the one I'm going with.
Yeah, it's a good one. It's a good one. Nancy Meyers, can't go wrong.
Can't go wrong there, yeah.
Well, very good. You answer all the questions. But thank you so much for coming on. This was a lot of fun to get to know you. And so thank you. And where can people find you on social media and all that fun stuff?
Oh, you can find me on Twitter while it exists and it hasn't blown up, at Lizzie That. You can find me on Instagram also at Lizzie That 21. And that's also my TikTok, not that I use it that much. And you can find me my writing on Fangirlish and CBR, there's not that much writing there, but whenever I decide I have time, that'll be writing there.
Great. We'll have all that information in the description. And so let us know if you're listening, what you think of all the things we talked about. We'd really appreciate it. And you can find me at Rachel's Reviews, all of our social media, iTunes, YouTube, and on Rotten Tomatoes. So check that out. Also, make sure you're checking out the Hallmarkies podcast. We got lots of fun stuff we're doing over there, a lot of coverage. So please take a look at that. And if you are listening on iTunes, please leave your ratings and reviews. That really helps a lot. And if you are watching on YouTube, please give the video a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. We appreciate that so much. We also have the Patreon group, which is a lot of fun. And we have the merch store where you can get hashtag animation junkie shirts and other fun stuff. So take a look at that. And you can get our female film critics panel logo shirts, which I think are really cool. So take a look at that. And thanks so much. It was so great to meet you. And we'll talk to you all later. Bye.
Bye.